question.
That should not be.
Hare Krishna. So I thank you again to help me in my service to my spiritual master by coming to okay. So I will start by Amsterdam. The opening of the temple of Amsterdam. So in Amsterdam at that time there was thousands of hippies, and we was working very hard so that Srila Prabhupada could come and install Lord Jagannath. So I was talking about the devotees yesterday, which never leaves because they was eating so much prasadam. So in fact, Haribolananda, he was a sculptor. So the temple president asked him, and Madhu Mangal, one American devotee, he asked them to carve Lord Jagannath. As you know, we was living on stories that we hear, and we always wanted to imitate, actually. So we decided that Lord Jagannath will be carved in the same way as the first Jagannath with the demigods. So we built, we separated the temple room in two. It was a very old garage, and it was hippie-like, you know, we put flowers, and it was pink and blue, and it was looking kitsch. So we built a wall, and we made a little opening in the wall, like this, so that we never see them while they were carving Lord Jagannath. Otherwise, we thought they may disappear if we see them. So they had a bell, and when they want to come out to go to the bathroom or something, they ring the bell, and we all go turn on the wall to not look at them, because in that story it says that he will see in Radhuna, he will see the demigods carving, they will disappear. So we did like this, and so they carved Lord Jagannath, and then we started to get ready. Srila Prabhupada to come. So they told me I have to make some dresses, and they have to go to bed to rest. So I went and bought some very red, flashy, fluffy material, and I made sleeping bags, because we knew only sleeping bags at that time. So I made 3 sleeping bags ready, and then after for the dresses, we didn't know, so we had only orange. We used to go in Amsterdam. I was the only lady, and I had the same saffron sari as their devotees. And actually, the Nanjaya, he had bought some cloth for the devotees, and he wanted it to be durable. So one day he came back, and they went upstairs to put the devotees, and I saw them coming down, and it was like this, like barboteuse, don't know what to say in English. Just like this, and we see all the legs and everything, because he had bought cloth for garden chairs. Very, very good. Then he told me, come here. Now I'm going to put you a sari on it. So he put that cloth like this, and he said, you put it on your head. But then I put it on the head, and he was going like this.
It's like a tent.
Yeah, like this. So I made dresses for Lord Jagannath like that, orange and very durable. So we prepare like this. And I was cooking for 100, 120 hippies every day. And so Srila Prabhupada, that day, he arrived. And so all the German devotees had come. And I had been cooking Krishna for everybody. So they came, they eat. They don't give me any information, and they left. I just heard that I had to have some food, nice food, for the fire sacrifice. So then, when the time was coming that Srila Prabhupada come to the airport, they all left, and I was alone in the temple. And everything was dirty, all the plates. And I was so anxious that when Srila Prabhupada come, he doesn't sleep. And I was cleaning the floor, pushing the plates. I could not wash all these plates. There was many of them. So I got 2 sheets, and I put all the plates piled up with 2 sheets in the corner. And the temple was very small, very, very small. So then I started to be quite anxious, and because I was alone, I thought that I'm in charge of everything. So, and I don't know what to do, actually. So then Srila Prabhupada arrived, and when he came to the airport, all television of Netherlands was there. So he sat down, he had a big food plate, and actually it's on a movie. And my little boy was there, and he was on the television, he was eating all the food of Prabhupada plate. And later on, actually, the Dutch people, they was coming every Saturday and Sunday to see, because he had shaved head, he was serpent, he was only 5 years old. And they was asking to see the plain monk, the little monk. So then, Srila Prabhupada was arriving. So he came, and hundreds of hippies were there. And I was very worried. I put so much incense everywhere, because it was smelling so bad. They had to take their shoes off. So then I started to take water and wash their feet. I saw, but it was smelling more bad because they had to take their socks off. So I was hiding the socks and the shoes and everything, and there was no way. It was very, very bad smell. So Srila Prabhupada came, and he was very brave. And he went to sit on the small Vyasasana that we made. And he had Shabasunda, Rebatinanda, his secretaries, like this. They looked very tired. They were struggling. And they don't give us any information, actually. So they had built a little place with earth for the fire sacrifice next to the Vyasasana of Srila Prabhupada. But the temple was not as wide as this, and it was 2 times longer, that's all. So I was in the kitchen cutting fruits, and Srila Prabhupada said, "Wow, all the fruits." So I said, "Wow, I have to put the cream, I have to put the yogurt." I have to put honey. So I came with a big bowl of fruit salad, with a big ladle, and I start to put the fruit salad on the fireplace. So Srila Prabhupada, what is this? And and I was going there and there. And one moment Srila Prabhupada said, it was my first service actually with Srila Prabhupada. And it was a mess. So Srila Prabhupada said, he was tired to see me running there and there trying to accomplish everything. Prabhupada said very strongly, is there not any men here in this temple? So I felt a little bad, you know. So I thought, oh, he's very displeased. So then I have to pack and go, because he's very displeased. So then one of the sannyasis, he saw me going to the door, and he said, where are you going? It's not that way. You have to go back, to go that way back. So I went back in the temple with my bag, and I wanted to leave the temple. I was so annoyed. And then when I came back, Srila Prabhupada was pouring, I was looking at he was pouring liquid. I didn't know what it was. We have not been advised over the deities. Then he turned and he said, where are the towels? So there was no towel. So I rushed out and I went into an immeuble. Yeah. And I started to bang at all the doors, just in front of the temple. And I was screaming, please, somebody, give a towel. Lord Jagannath is getting bath, and we don't have towel to dry, and it is cold. So people will come out with their nose out and not understand. But one lady, she said, I have no towel, but I have a bed sheet. I said, but it should be new, in a plastic. So I got this bed sheet which has the plastic, and I came back in the temple. And I started to want to cut the sheet for making 2 towels. And Srila Prabhupada, very strongly, he looked at me, he said, now don't spoil this shit. Whatever I was doing was wrong. No. So after the Srila Prabhupada was chanting, and he was quite annoyed. And then all these hippies was coming near to him. And the thing I remember is the smell. And we tried to keep them a little away. They was very intoxicated. So that was how they was installed. So the next morning, they told me that Srila Prabhupada wanted me to make his breakfast. So I didn't know what to make. So I make all sweets. Sweet rice, laddu, alva, everything sweet. And I was sleeping in like the broom cupboard, actually. It was long, but very narrow, not big. And that's where they put all the brooms and the buckets. And when Srila Prabhupada arrived in the morning, he actually said, I want to eat there. So, but the room was not tied up, because it was so hard to do. And I had some old pillows, hippie time, you know, with embroidery and everything, which had not been ever washed ever. And I had a big picture of Lord Shiva. And I was chanting my rounds in the morning there, because the manager told me that Lord Shiva is very merciful. And you can, he is helping the devotees to come to Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada walked in that room and he just sat down on my pillow in the front of the big picture of Lord Shiva, and he ate all the breakfast that I had given him. There was a big hole in the door, so I was looking, and everyone was pushing to look at him to eat. But in the morning, Srila Prabhupada, you don't know that nobody, they told me that Lord Jagannath must be Bas. So I did everything that Srila Prabhupada had done. So I did the Abhishek to the deities. And I remember I thought, oh, I should maybe not put it in their eyes. And I was talking to them, please excuse me if there is something come in your eye. And I was pouring this yogurt, honey, everything. And this went on for about 6 months. Every day I was doing the Abhishek to Lord Jagannath. And also, they don't tell me we have to do it by mantra. So the president, he did not understand why I was so late every morning. And I also don't understand how can you want me to be so quick? Because also, I was putting Lord Jagannath in sleeping bags, and the sleeping bag I made was a little bit small, so it was very difficult to put them inside. We have no knowledge at all, you see. But Lord Jagannath was very merciful. He accepted the service. And so later on, we hired a place. So Srila Prabhupada was going to give a lecture. So hundreds of hippies came again. And Srila Prabhupada was chanting. And some of the hippies, they start to make a round. And then we was chanting. Then we start to see that few t-shirts was going up in the air like this, and then we see some pants, and then we look, and they was getting naked, and they was going, ooh, ooh, Hare Krishna, ooh, like a tribe, like Indians, you know, and then, so the devotees jump on them like this to cover them, that Srila Prabhupada doesn't see that. It was, so then Srila Prabhupada was very happy to see still that we gave so much prashadam to them. Actually, we worked so hard that 2 times a week I was going with the Volkswagen truck that I had given the data for. So I was going to the big market and begging. So when we come back, one boy was crying, I didn't run. It was full, so full that we put them on the roof, we tied up like this. And they liked so much to give it to us. And then little by little, they used to come and say, I remember always this man, he kept beautiful strawberries, and he said, here for Jagannath, here for Jagannath. Everybody was so enthusiastic. And because we have no money, practically. And so every day, this feast. So Srila Prabhupada saw them, so he was very happy. But he was, you know, like I was saying, he was caring for us first. So he pat me on my head like this, and he said, this is very nice, what you are doing. You continue like this. But don't give them philosophy. Don't give them much philosophy. because they are so intoxicated that they may aggress you. Because Srila Prabhupada, he was aggressive in New York, and he had to flee down the stairs very quickly.
The microphone.
One boy was aggressive. He was living with one boy who was taking drugs, and he lost this boy, but this boy aggressive. So he knew, Srila Prabhupada, that we could be in danger, actually. So, and, yeah, I was telling you my initiation yesterday. Then we got initiated for Brahman initiation. So it was in, there was the big Ratha Yatra, and I spent the whole Ratha Yatra dancing in the front of Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was smiling and he was always doing like this. And I was dancing backward like this. And after we sit down, and there was plates with bananas. So the first thing I did is that I eat the banana. It was for the initiation. That they don't tell us. Then Srila Prabhupada gave me Brahma initiation. And that was terrible. Because nobody told me again how it was, what it was, ever. As you say, it's very serious. So I came in the room, and Srila Prabhupada was sitting, and he said, so, look at me, and put your hand like this. So I put my hand like this, and Prabhupada went doing that. And I thought, wow, he's doing a game. So I was going like this. I said, no, like this. I thought, what is this kind of game? And I was really thinking he was doing a play. And he was getting, but not like this. So he took my hand and he guided me like this. And he told me the Gayatri Mantra. You can imagine how much we was not ready. So, and two. Okay, I tell you something. Huh?
This is one children.
And this two. Yeah, I was telling to the girls that in this time of initiation, okay, Srila Prabhupada gave a class, and you know, we used to go to Amsterdam morning to evening before we get the devotees, and after someone had to stay, and it was freezing cold with kids. I had 2 kids, and people was giving chocolate sometimes to the children. And so some brahmachari would take it out and throw it on the canal, so the kids would scream. And people were, and we were so cold that we had the arm in the air, we could not put them down sometimes. So cold it was, icy. Canal, the water was ice, everything ice. But we was doing it actively. And that day, it was hard, huh? We go very enthusiastic, but after like 2-3 hours, we frozen. So we like to go back. And Srila Prabhupada that morning gave a class, and he said, when you go in Harinam and people are looking at you and they are smiling, they are making the same spiritual advancement as you do. So my first reaction was, wow, maybe I should have stayed on the pavement instead of, because they're doing this. But then immediately something else came. And I thought, wow, I never heard something like this. They are doing all the hard work. They are doing nothing. They're simply smiling. And they are getting the same benefit. And I felt that that's Srila Prabhupada, so much love. Doesn't matter if you do something or not. We just want to serve everyone. That was my first that I felt that Srila Prabhupada, something that we don't know. But if you want, I may tell you the first time I saw Srila Prabhupada was not at the initiation, but it was very, very strong, actually. So, we had, myself personally, I had been waiting very long, many months, because it was very strange. I had something in the heart, which was like stuck there, which I knew I was going to be close to it. But at the same time, I could not accept that, because I thought this is not possible, not me. It's impossible, I have nothing, I have nobody. So it was very strange. I knew, and I didn't know. But still, I didn't accept to be initiated by letter. And say, no, I want to be initiated by him. So, by waiting so long and knowing him and serving so much, it was very strong feeling to meet that person that you love and you serve for so long and you have never seen ever. So all the devotees the heart was beating like crazy. We only talked about him and wept and restless. So in the morning, then the door opened and we was all on our knees, 2 lines like this, and ready to get initiated for the next day. And I started crying, but I looked the others, but they also was crying, so I felt better. And then suddenly, it was more than magic. Srila Prabhupada was coming from another world. And we had no books practically, only that Krishna book, and many of us don't speak English even. And we had 3 Upanishads. And so Srila Prabhupada coming. And it was something out of this world. And he was just crying, and he went through very dignified like this. It was like his feet was not touching the ground. And I touched a little bit of his feet like this. And at that moment, I felt like this offer obeisance. And I was not myself anymore. Some feeling like I was a leper, somebody very sick, incurable, for eternity. No one would cure me, no one would get me out, and I was deep in a hole, you know, like oubliette. I don't know if you said oubliette now. Well, but worse than that. And then, when it passed, it come like this, I was feeling that my soul started to scream, scream. Please help, like you are in fire. You don't have ego, you don't have anything, because you are burning, you want to be out of the pain. So I found myself screaming like this. And he was the Savior, and he had come and opened everything. So we was going to, the whole world was going to be saved. And that was unbelievable because normally it was not happening. Something that like we are cross and cross here and forever, for eternity, and he had come. So it was incredible. And after I spoke with the other devotee, and they checked also. And actually, when Srila Prabhupada left, I was in New Mayapur, and then suddenly it was like an iron sea, and like a class. And I was feeling so bad, like something had been closing. So when Srila Prabhupada was here, just by his presence, he did so much. And it's true that when he left, something left with him. But if we remember him with all our strength, and we call him, then we will have that little thing that left with him, which caused big disturbance. It is said in the scriptures, when the Acharya, pure devotee, live, is a lot of torment. So, and we add it. So, if we always remember and hold each other in remembering Srila Prabhupada, then we will be very safe and many people will be attracted again because he attracted us just by love. Can you imagine? We have rejected, actually I had rejected everything my father was telling me. And my father was so strict, so I rejected everything. And then slowly, I realized that Srila Prabhupada was first telling us everything that our parents was educating us. And we accepted completely. We were swallowing it. Don't do this, don't do that, do this, do that. So that was a miracle. Actually, we are miracles of Srila Prabhupada all over. That is a miracle. And I really felt he was, I told it, I think already, but it's so strong that because we have no big philosophy or that, he was rising in our heart. That's clear. He appeared more and more, and so we get stronger, and we can do all this work. Actually, Srila Prabhupada was demanding a lot of service, and a lot of service. He was saying, you finish your rounds in the morning, but if you don't finish it, you finish it later, but you do 8 hours service a day, plus the class, plus the Mangal Arati, plus all this. And I think you are the same, but all emphasis in working very, very hard. And it was very good for us because we don't realize where we was, what we was coming in. We were so busy, we don't realize how much sacrifice we will have to do, so much tapasya, and so much things not to do. And we don't realize so hard working or preaching we have to do. So, okay, I'll tell you something of Vrindavan. We had a morning walk. Yes. And we arrived to Krishna Mandir, and there was big pigs on the sewage, Prabhupada stopped in front of them and he said, "Je see how happy they are. Je see how smiling they are." And then Srila Prabhupada said, "Those pigs are the Goswamis of Vrindavan. We did not follow rules and regulations." Wow. I was looking at them. And then Srila Prabhupada said, actually, they will go back home, back to Godhead. But they will go back by the back door. But we will go back by the front door. And guess what? Prabhupada said, and we will shake hands with Krishna. Something comes. It's one of my favorites. Srila Prabhupada arrived, and he was there in the front, outside. And he asked for one devotee. We was not many. A crew of construction. We were not many. So I don't remember which devotee, but Srila Prabhupada asked, "Where is it?" So one devotee said, "He's going, Srila Prabhupada, to another temple." So Srila Prabhupada stopped, looked at us, and Srila Prabhupada said, "My disciples are very easily detached of everything. Family, this, that. But the problem is that they are not attached to Krishna." Then Srila Prabhupada said, "Krishna gives you a service. And Krishna is looking at you in that service. And he sees that everything is going well. So then, but Prabhupada was talking like you know, like it's you or me or anyone that there. Incredible." Prabhupada said, then Krishna turned back and he goes to do something else, somewhere else. And then Krishna comes back and he looks at you in your service. He wants to see how you are doing your service. If everything is going well, it's so personal. And then he doesn't find you anymore. You are not there. So in that way, you are disturbing Krishna very much. But if you are there, and if you are lucky, then Krishna may glance at you. I was so amazed that how, when Srila Prabhupada talked about Krishna, he's there. You don't see him like he's big God or this or that. It's Krishna. He look if you are doing nice in your service. He takes care. So this is incredible. And one little story in Amsterdam, when I was new devotee, then in Jaya, I had, before we had Jagannath, Lord Jagannath, I saw that this person is very strange, with the big eyes, very strange. And he's saying that it is Krishna playing the flute. So we had like a stem Jagannath on the first book. If you remember, we had the first handbook which says how to put tilak, how to offer, and there was a Jagannath like this. Though I went to So I went to the Nanjara and and I told him, Prabhu, you said this is Krishna playing the flute. So the Nanjara said, yes, it is. And when you will chant your arms nicely, you will see Jagannath, but you will see Krishna playing the flute. So after that, every morning I chanted my arms so good, and I opened the book to see I was seeing Krishna playing the flute. So of course it did not happen, but years later, one day, I remember that, and actually, yes, I was seeing Krishna in the flute on the Jagannath, no different. So it was very nice like this. So, 3. Hiranyakashipu. Okay. So I was telling it to the girl, but I think it's very important to see how Srila Prabhupada take care of the smallest devotee. If he's disturbed, he can stop everything. And how concerned he is, and how fast he reacts. So, I was in Krishna Balaram Mandir, and Srila Prabhupada told me in Amsterdam to send my son to Gurukula in Dallas. He had said we had a very nice school in Dallas, send your boy. So it was very hard because my boy had not even 5 years. But Prabhupada told me to continue the service. So we was like this, service came first, Prabhupada instruction came first. Many of us neglected our husband, wife, children, ourselves, everything. So actually I obeyed Srila Prabhupada order, and I went to America. But at that time, in Europe, we was very backward. For America was like so advanced, so many things, and so I put him there, and it was quite tough because they told me, now you have to go. And he was screaming, and I was crying, and I was taking him like this. And I found myself, wow. And then I went to see Kirtanananda. And I remember, and I was crying, and it was so difficult. And in West Virginia, that was in Dallas. And I went to see Kirtanananda. They told me to go to visit there. And he just put me in a room with full of dishes to wash. And again I was crying. I will never be able to wash all these dishes. And he asked me for donation. So I gave him all what I had. And after I saw, because I had only one-way ticket, and after to give him, I thought, but how am I going to go back to Europe? I have no more money. So then I went back to Dallas to try to see my son. They didn't want. I had no money, and I went to knock on all the doors and to ask people, and I was very shy. And I don't speak good English. So they opened, and I said, I put my son in Gurukula. I have no money to go back. They don't understand. But please help me to go back to France, and I want to clean your house. So it's one funny thing, is that one lady, she said, okay, you can wash the windows. So she put me in a room, and she said, you can go on the bed to wash the window. And she left. But I was very impressed by America. Everything was so big. Big street, big car, big everything. People with big hats and guns.
Always.
And boots like this. Yeah. So then she left, she closed the door, and I go on that bed. And then the bed started going weird. It was a water bed, but I had no idea. And I thought that they had made a trap for me. That bed was going to open and I was going to... I started to scream. So just to say how difficult. So then the children came to Vrindavan. I had not seen my son for 3 years at least. So one evening, I was giving him some Mahaprasad that I cooked for the deities. And it was embarrassing to be together. He was not happy because I left him there. I was like this. So I was giving him, and then the door burst open, and one of the teachers came in, and he said, "What is this, Kirtan?" He was not even 8 years old now. Really when he was growing up. And he said very strongly, "What are you doing, Kirtan? What is this? A brahmachari sitting on the same bed as a woman?" So I stand up and I said, "This woman is his mother." And he continued. And then I had already gone to the door and spy what they are doing with the children. And in the morning I was hearing them say, "Wake up, you are in Maya." And I was thinking, why they say they are in Maya? Why don't they say, "Wake up, go to see Krishna"? I didn't like. So then when my son, he saw me like this with the teacher went, I said, I keep my son on the bed with me. And he left, and my son started to tell me how bad treatment they had. Punching, beating, and even one time, they enjoy cruelty. So they put my son in a wash machine, telling him that they're going to turn it. Bad thing. Then he started to tell me that they would sit him in front of Dham, and he had to put his hand like this and stare for a very long time. Not eating. Very cruel. Wow. So I pack up my things. Srila Prabhupada had just gone one day before. And he had told me, "You don't come to Bombay because I am going to Mauritius very quickly." So I packed up my things, I took the 2 kids, and I saw my husband on the way. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going immediately to Bombay to see Srila Prabhupada because they are mistreating the children there. So I go immediately." And he knew he could not stop me. No way. So it was evening, and I took the last bus to Mathura. We waited, we take a bus, and I arrived in Bombay. So then I said, I have to meet Srila Prabhupada immediately. I took my kids with friends, and it was a terrace, as we said, and it was a stair going to the terrace on the side, and Srila Prabhupada was like me here, and it was far where I come up like this. So he saw my head coming up, only. And the devotees were telling me, don't go, he had the biggest darshan than ever. Amitabh Bachchan is there. And Amitabh Bachchan was the biggest film actor of India at that time. And he had so many big people, which was very important because we was building Jew temples. So for making life better, for everything. So Srila Prabhupada was talking to this assembly, and it was not such a long time that they had come. And in the front of Srila Prabhupada was all, so many, at least 10 of them, 8 of them. We had Krishna, Dham, Bhavananda, Kisori, who wrote that in the book. So they were sitting next at the feet of Srila Prabhupada. So it was very intense, and the devotees had tried to stop me actually, to go to speak to him. But I felt it was very so urgent that I could not wait. But you see, Srila Prabhupada saw me, and immediately he said, "Oh, Kisori, you have a problem?" Immediately. I said, "Yes, Srila Prabhupada." Then immediately he went like this to all the big people, and he said, "Oh, it's all right. You can deal with that." Immediately stopped everything. So you see how Srila Prabhupada was concerned. If you have a problem, if you feel sad, if you don't feel good, he was very concerned. So then I came, I sit, I look on my obeisance, and then he said, "So what's happening now?" So GB says was not happy with this book because they had worked very hard to bring all these people for the darshan. So that also, they was not so happy. So then I started to tell the story of Mahaprasad, that I was giving some prasad in the room. And Srila Prabhupada, he heard me about the brahmachari saying what you are doing on this bed like that. And Prabhupada sit like this, and he put his hand like this, and he said, just see how they are. Mother giving some prasad to her son. Just see how they are. And he was not happy. So I felt encouraged. And Kirtan, he had told me many more things. And well, everybody knows the tragedy later and what had to go through the children. But not at that time. There was no abuse of children, only bad treatment like this. But you see how serious bad treatment. So then I was very encouraged, and I started to tell Srila Prabhupada, and it took me a long time because I started the story. Actually, I told Srila Prabhupada, you told me that you had a very nice Gurukula, and you told me to send my son there. So can you imagine how Srila Prabhupada must have been? Now I'm thinking that is. So, and I obey you. And it was very painful to me to be separated of my little boy. But still I did it, because you told me that I had to cook for everyone for that. So then I told him, I took time to speak to him, and he was listening, looking at me in my eyes like this. And I told him that I was feeling so much pain at night. I would read the Krishna book where little baby Krishna and his little shoe that he bring to his father. And that would relieve me from my pain, that my boy was not there. I was hearing, you don't enter me. And then I started to say the mistreatment of the children. And Gopal, he tried to stop me. So he said, yeah, but Srila Prabhupada, you know, Kisori, she is a mother. So he was going to say, I don't know, sentimental, certainly, and too soft after, I don't know. But Prabhupada interrupted him immediately, because he was going to say that I was exaggerating. But Srila Prabhupada, he went like this, and his voice was like thunder, and his eye was deeply in mine, and he said, she is telling the truth. But his voice reminded me like, I never heard of Nishingadet, but something like this. He was so, because actually, much later on, not so long ago, I saw that GPCs actually, they have not done their work properly. They have not checked properly what was going on in the school, if everything was, so they was shaking a bit, that Prabhupada maybe was going to chastise them. So then I went on. Then Srila Prabhupada said, what is this? I told them, you have a stick and you can show it. You never give it. What is this? He said, one time I said, with 2 fingers you can go like this. It breaks the ego, to put down the ego. Just like this, he said. Just see. Just see what they do in my name. And I went on, and then Srila Prabhupada exploded. He said, then Srila Prabhupada exploded completely. With such a strong voice, he said, all Hiranyakashipu teachers, now you expel them all, immediately, and before to expel them, you hang them. Very concerned with everything, and he was managing the whole world. Sometimes some devotees suffer, and management is not caring because they have so much to do. But he canceled the biggest darshan he had, and everything for just a little mother who come and say something, and he believed me immediately, and immediately he acted. So it's so important that we do like this when we see a devotee who is not happy. We should go and say what's happening. We should pacify, and we should have this exchange of love and friendship. And we cannot let someone like this suffer and everything. Okay.
Sorry?
Yeah.
So also at that time, also devotees were also concerned to each other. Like,
Huh?
devotees also were concerned to each other, like the story of Malati came to rescue you.
Okay.
Yes.
With Gopal. I was very new devotee. So we was in the Mano. And Malati, she was a bhikshu and very strong, doing a lot. And she knew I was a good cook, so she put me in the kitchen. And I was amazed actually how she was cooking. She was doing things in American way. so fast and with pressure cooker and wow. I was always admirative to her. So she put me to cook. But there was in the manor, and at that time there was a hippie, well-known hippies, with like a long braid up to here and a crew of girls behind him. But he was such a painter, incredible painter. He was painting Prabhupada, Krishna. They gave him the best room of the manor. And he came to me and he said, please, I want you to, how to say, be a model. Because he was doing some design of Krishna's pastime. So please, I want you to come in my room and be a model. So I came. And then he started to be, I don't know, alive, I don't know. Charming. And then he told me, you know, you should not live here actually. You should live at my place. And me, I packed up my bag and I left. And I came to his house. But I saw so many girls was there and boys and they smelled hashish and everything, and he was living on the top upstairs. And I told him, no, no, I stay downstairs. So I stayed downstairs, and the next morning, so we used to go in Dham in the afternoon. So next morning, it was about like 5 o'clock. I heard Kartal, Midranga, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I said, wow, they are going to Harinam very early today. And at that moment I said that to myself, the window burst open like this. At least 3 brahmacharis jumping, Haribol, Haribol. And they went to open the door, and here is Malati chief came on me, you know. What are you doing here? It's time to cook. And there was, and actually I was thinking what I am doing here. And so some hippies came down and they took my bag, threw it out of the window. So she saved my spiritual life that day. So you see how we were so concerned. We would have done anything to make devotees and to keep devotees. There was nothing a devotee could do which we could say, oh, Krishna kicked him out, something. Never. We don't know Krishna kick out. We know that Krishna takes only. And Prabhupada also. Anything like, I was preaching very much. And I was very lucky to help devotees, many to join. So one time we had a president in Amsterdam and he was very, like this, precious. He was a sannyasi. And he was very much into all like big cleanliness, but a bit too much, you know, so a bit strange. And 2 devotees, they was ready to join, but the girl, it was Devi. Yeah. The girl, she didn't want to leave her cats. And never I had cats or dogs myself. So I said, shh, don't say anything, we're going to take the cats. And they will sleep with us. So we had these 2 cats sleeping in a broom cupboard because we was getting quite a few in that broom cupboard. We know we are not even mats. We just put a bed sheet on the cement and we sleep like this. I had even a new baby and we sleep like this. And we was getting more and more, and it was such a small place.
Where
and
was this?
Vishwa.
Where was it? Was this
And Vishwa, I remember, she was so picky. And she always wanted to take a foot bath in the evening. So I made hot water for her, and I helped her massage her feet, and then she had a foot bath, because her husband was doing that work. And he could not come in the girls' room. We did everything to keep devotees, you know. And one morning, we a big scream. And we came, and it was the sannyasi on the table. Cats! These cats! The only thing we wanted is to be more and more in very place. I don't know if somebody has been in very place. But we slept everywhere. Everywhere, on the stairs, almost in the bathroom. Srila Prabhupada had to come through to go to the toilet. Devotees sleeping in the, you know. Because the only thing is that to give souls back to Krishna. And then we turn, we do again, we give, we do again, we only thing. And by doing this, we knew that Srila Prabhupada was going to come. Because Srila Prabhupada, what he wanted is the temple full of devotees. A roof for all. Not empty temple like in my country, big castle, and you see 5 people. And no, he just wanted everywhere. So we have been trained up like this. That was the nicest thing. And we will fight to do service. No, 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 give me the broom, I swear. No, 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 it's me. No, it's me. And if one devotee was 1 week before, we would worship him like a pure devotee. If he had come 1 week before we came, we see him like a pure devotee. You know, we had such a great vision of devotees. Even if they come 1 week before, doesn't matter. Even if they come 5 minutes, he's a devotee, Shantara Krishna. And he's in Krishna is happy. Because that was I was very lucky to come to a temple like this. So it was like honey. I was very, very lucky. So we can only mercy. Oh yes. Wow, I have a good memory, yeah? 70 years old. So, it was at the manor, and Srila Prabhupada was giving darshan on the grass. There is one picture of him with my daughter. He said she looks like baby Krishna. She had a big hippie dress and curl. And Prabhupada was so nice to the children, and teasing them and patting them, and always attention to the children, always. So I was sitting a little bit back, and Yogeshwara was there, and some devotees around him, and it was a lecture on Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I was shy, I was back. Then Prabhupada looked at me and he said, please come. So come here. So I was sitting near him. And then Yogeshwara he asked a question to Srila Prabhupada. He said, but Srila Prabhupada, devotees who have come to ISKCON, they must have some pious activities to actually have come, because so many are there and they don't come. And that I will never forget. So then Srila Prabhupada said, never think that you have any pious activity to your active. I don't know what to say. Never think like this. It's only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. Only. Then he tried again. He said, yeah, but still, if they take this mercy, they must have. Prabhupada said, no pious activity, only mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But of course, they have to take. They have to, like if you give some prasad, you cannot stuff it. They have to swallow, like this. So that we are all made of the mercy. And more, we are in Krishna consciousness. We see that we can share, okay, myself, we can share millions of rounds. That will change if I don't receive mercy. So we can move Krishna energy. It's too strong. So only mercy. This is very nice. Yeah. Oh, it's a nice thing. Don't make. Yeah. Oh yeah. Shuradi was telling Prabhupada, what is this? There was one, what are you doing now? So Shuradi said, I am making a room for Brahmananda. So he can rest there. Prabhupada said, no. You don't make a room to Brahmananda, otherwise he will sleep all day. So you make him sleep there. It was here, in the entrance. He said, that's where he will sleep. And yeah, about men and women. So, Srila Prabhupada was saying that married life is like a very narrow bridge. And then man is coming like this, and the woman is coming like this, and one has to, how do you say? Step back. And Srila Prabhupada said, and it's the woman who has to do that. Because the women, they are like young roseaux. Comment on dit roseau? Roseau. Like
fresh rose?
No.
Why?
Les roseaux. Les roseaux. Like, comme les cannes à sucre. Comme les cannes à sucre.
A vine?
You know, they grow a lot with water and they give sugar cane, roseau. Something like this. So Prabhupada said, the ladies, they are like young ones, and their ego can bend.
Bamboos.
Bend.
Bamboos.
Bend. So that was they should step back, because the men, they are like dry, all dry. And they break if you try to bend them.
Old bamboo and young bamboo.
Huh?
Oh, old bamboos and young bamboos.
Yes, bamboos. He said the men, they are like old bamboos, they break if you try to bend them. That was nice, huh? Srila Prabhupada was saying that men and women, I was there in the room, men and women, they are two different species. who hates each other. Who hate each other.
Hate each other. Hates each other.
Oh.
And he said, so for married life, he said, so the men, he was telling me so much about that. He was explaining how it was in Bengal at this time. He said that that's why Surabi made this wrong thing for the ladies, which is so horrible actually to live. So Prabhupada was saying that in the house at that time, there was a quarter for men and a quarter for ladies. And they practically don't meet in the day. And only that the husband, they will come at night and lay down with their wife. Otherwise, he said, because there are two species who hate each other. And he was telling about this. He was also telling that the ladies at this time, they would never, we could never see their face. Hindus ladies in the streets and like this. And about children, he was saying to give them toys. Prabhupada said he had 2 girls. and like that. He said, if you give toys to the children, little cars and everything, then they won't have so much expectation later on. So sometimes they used to stop us to do toys and everything. And Srila Prabhupada was saying, never say no to a child, and you never let him cry. And if he has something that you don't want him to have, then you don't take it away from him, and you don't tell him no, and you never slap him, but you give him something else, then he will forget about it. And you also said to never let ladies cry, otherwise Lakshmi will go away. And another thing for the ladies, he was saying that
Microphone.
he was Srila Prabhupada was saying that all the ladies have to be protected and married. And he was explaining that in the Vedic culture, they got married very early, so there is no anxiety. And they start to do little things, and they have no anxiety, and they get used, and they get attached to the person to who they will marry. And then Srila Prabhupada said, but if they are too ugly, even then, he said, they got married to a tree. If the girls are too ugly, you get them married to a tree. Srila Prabhupada is very traditional. He made for us for service. He engaged us in all the service and everything. But he was so traditional, actually. So much that when in that room, someone came in and said, Indira Gandhi is president now of India. So, oh, there is no one man in India anymore. A woman is president. It was like this. What is this? Oh yeah, for deities, Ilavati, she was in Dallas, and she had small deity. That's important also to know. She had small deity. Then she started to buy very small dishes, very small glasses and everything. And Srila Prabhupada was very upset. He said, it's not because Krishna is a small murti that is small. So you have to give him a big plate also. And, yeah.
Reflecting on Jesus,
On
Jesus.
On Jesus? Ah, yeah, Srila Prabhupada was always praising Lord Jesus. But he was saying his feet are always on my head, and that he was a pure devotee. And he said also that he had his own planet, and when the sincere devotees of him will go there, he will give them the mantra. But one time he said also, it's better to be a disciple of Durga than Jesus, because at least it is in the Vedic system. And one time he spoke of Muslim also. He said Muslims can be very strict with their principles. He said it's better to be a good Muslim. He said this is like, it sounds opposite, but it's not. It's better to be a good Muslim than a washi-washi Hindu. I can't see it. I will see it.
Happy family show again.
All of this one's here. Okay. Yeah.
Srinachi.
Yeah.
Gayatri, please recognize detach from family.
Srirachi.
Teasing how Babaji walked.
I go to story. Here. And this
Opening to the we fell on the floor with Srila Prabhupada.
Which story I do not say is you said yesterday.
What's this one? Around the world.
Huh? No, that is the Goa, I think. Krishna. Yeah, I said. And Kashiko, I did. And Simple. Maybe. Dham
Distribution, book stays,
yeah.
dresses.
Yeah. I think I tell about you your opinion. Yes. Yeah. Okay. And me?
This is Kesho Guru, not sure. Not sure.
No, the cow. What you think? That's what we see.
This is the Hindu story.
Huh?
It's a Hindu story. Yeah, this is all the same.
Yeah. I don't know for today. If you want to ask something, and huh? Which one? That they don't hear? Yeah, I think so. Did I tell you? Yes. About the opening of Krishna Balarama. Yes. I told you yesterday.
No, not
No, I
yet.
don't think so.
With the dress made in Jakarta.
She won't say.
Huh?
Yes, she said that here.
Here, yes.
Yesterday.
Yesterday, the day before.
Yeah, she said it at
The first day.
No, here.
And you know, in Vrindavan, when we came here, everybody was saying it was crazy to buy this land because it was full of thieves and everything. And there was only peacocks and grass, no noise, nothing. It was, and it was even big varan. One time my husband said to me, just look.
Huge bull.
Bull?
Bull.
Non, varan. Lizard. Il y a de...
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just see the tail like this. And full of cobra. One time Sohabi was giving a class, and Guna Nava was sitting like this, like me, and he said to Sohabi, don't move. Fortunately, I did not notice, I did not hear, otherwise he would have been dead. I would scream. And that cobra went on his donkey like this. And he didn't move. We was living in such a condition, you know. Scorpion. One time also I saw one scorpion had bitten me, and so I said, it's all right, you go, you lay down, you chant Hare Krishna. He had been beaten like a few days back or so. And condition was like this. And Srila Prabhupada even slept on in the earth. And but it was very, very sweet, very, very sweet. If you want to ask something, because I'm a little... Veux-tu lire, toi, ce que j'ai mis? C'est la page avec les histoires.
How did the devotees get here from other places? How did they come? By Tanga? By?
No, by feet.
By?
Because Srila Prabhupada said 25 paisa. It was the cost of the rickshaw. And Prabhupada said 25 paisa. It's public money. And your legs are free.
No, but if you come from the tourist station?
From Mathura.
From the tourist station, how you got here from a tourist station?
From the Mathura train station. How did
Oh.
someone
Mostly by Tonga.
Yeah. I also.
Yeah.
That was the only problem.
Mostly by Tonga.
Say the question so we want to say that. Parvati said the question that how did the people come from the train station here in the old days?
By Tonga. By horse. Like a kura. We were singing like this. Horse. And first time I came, it was in Radha Damodar temple. And it was Yamuna there, Palika, Madira. And they had one room only.
On the,
Many monkeys.
on the roof of the Radha Damodar.
On the roof.
Yes, on the roof. We will see the samadhis, and it was amazing, actually. And I started to cook for them. They was all sick, boys, everything. Difficult conditions for the devotees. I used to give a garden to Srila Prabhupada, and it was very hot weather, and I started to think, oh, he should have, I would like him to feel more cool. It's so hot, no air conditioner, and most of the time no electricity. It's really hot. And then I started to put a bucket of water and put the garden in the water. And then I take the garland out, I go just little like this, and I give it to Srila Prabhupada. And I thought he would be very happy. But after 3 days, and I was seeing that he was a little wet. And after 3 days, Srila Prabhupada said, "Why are you giving me a wet garland every day?" I said nothing. And also, I was telling at the restaurant that sometimes Srila Prabhupada, he was teaching in silence, but he was telling you what to do, what not to do, without talking. Like, for example, all the girls, when we came here, we was young, so we wanted to look like the Indian lady. So we put ankle bells, bangles, nose rings, everything big. And so and actually my ankle bells, there was the bangles. So I started to bring the plates to Srila Prabhupada. And I'll tell you something. I bring the plate one day. The second day, I was not feeling at ease. And the third day, I was only hearing my ankle bells. And I went out and just took them out. You know, I had to take them out. And then after, it started with the bangles. They was making noise when I was giving his plate on the table. And I really felt I have to take it all like this. So many times, you will know when you was doing something wrong. You will not say, but at the same time you immediately catch up that this is not the proper thing to do. And he was very tidy, Srila Prabhupada. Like I would not be able even to leave a gun shop outside. And I was thinking, but where am I going to dry it? It was normal for me to hang it in the garden. But I said, I don't want this gun shop there. Everything was so tidy, so neat, so... And many times I was sitting and he was translating, and everything at the same time. Now for Krishna, now he came to Bagaji house to take Prashadam with Tamal Krishna and so many. So we had cooked together, Bagaji and me, and he was very happy. And he sat on the mat like this, and he was all eating Prashadam in Bagaji house. And he liked very much Bagaji chapati. So after every day, Bagaji will come in the kitchen, and he will make the chapati. And he will bring it to Srila Prabhupada. But it was okay, I was very happy. And Prabhupada will enjoy it very much. So Srila Prabhupada, it's very simple in eating, so simple. You know, he was sitting in the garden, a little table like this, and a very small pillow, that's all. And he wanted his cooker next to him with his rice. And he wanted shukta every day. Shukta was very bitter. So shukta, I used to So, yeah, nice cooker, 3 stairs. And it was so incredible. First, I put the shukta. So shukta was made of Kerala because he had some diabetes. So I can't. Sorry.
She's all choked up.
It is not sukta, it is sukto. It is one of the most delicate dishes which is prepared in Bengal and liked by the Bengalis.
So Prabhupada take it every day.
Huh?
Take it every day. I put Kerala, some cauliflower, some brinjal, aubergine, eggplant, some Loki. Prabhupada loved to eat tinda, parval, all this squash. He liked it very much. So in the first, I put the shukta with a lot of water, very bitter, but really nice. When you learn how to eat it, you can't do without. Very, very nice. Then on the second, is all big holes in it. And was amazed. It was a little pot inside the cooker. You put like a big Kisori, and there was a plate on it. And inside you put the rice with the water. So it will cook just by the heat of the shukta and all that. And on the plate, he showed me all that. I had to put some tinda or some squash, something cut. That was steam. And there was another stair. And there also some steamed vegetable. And the top is, you have seen, like a karai. So after that, I take the karai and I make the masalas and put it over it. That's when Srila Prabhupada eats very, very some chapati and his rice. And on this little table, and he eat by himself, always. And I will go in and out to give him this or that. And so sometimes, Kisori. So Kisori, Srila Prabhupada, he shows me that to make it, it's really nice. You make the dough with yogurt, no water, yogurt. And after, cook a little bit the moong dal that time. Not too much, with chili. Prabhupada told me rather die than to eat without chili. So, chili, asfatida. And after we put in the Kisori and we fried it. And Prabhupada liked the samosa also, very fine crust. And always peas, cauliflower, and potato. Like this. And he liked to have gulab jamun in his room, which he will give sometimes. And at night with the milk, he will ask sometimes different things. And everything at the same time. And I used to make his chandal with a piece of sandalwood and camphor. Drink like this. And fruit juice, some fruit. And in the morning, I will soak poa 1 or 2 hours. Then squeeze it and put it into yogurt every morning. And Srila Prabhupada took 4 chickpeas and some grated ginger and this pour in yogurt every morning.
With salt or sugar?
Huh? No. Just like this.
Chilies and ginger.
No.
Yes,
Huh?
Chickpeas.
No, he was,
Or
what he
chickpeas.
likes very much, it was fried, but that was rare. Fried eggplant and yogurt with it. And some dhania pata and chili. That he loved it very much. And about Prabhupada, I used to always give, one time, in the beginning, I served him his Prabhupada, and then I went back in the kitchen and it was a bunch of, always sannyasis, to ask for some Prabhupada, and I didn't know, so I gave them. So there was nothing left. And then Srila Prabhupada called me. He said, I want some more of this. And so Srila Prabhupada told me, you should never serve anything to anyone before your spiritual master is done.
How would, can I ask, how would they sometimes offer it straight to Prabhupada? Or would you sometimes offer it first in the kitchen?
But if you offer it in the kitchen, you're offering it to Prabhupada.
Yeah, I know, but I've heard of
I gave him, I don't offer it to him, I offer it directly to him.
in front of
He's
him
taking
personally.
Boga. Prabhupada's taking Boga.
What he said?
Prabhupada makes it for something.
Huh?
Because he's asking, do you serve it directly to Srila Prabhupada?
Of course. Of course.
There was
Only when he asks from the deities. Otherwise, yes.
It's a side thing. I was wondering, Kisori, I was wondering,
Would you speak loud?
we spent some time, quite a few years with Mother, or with Yamuna
Yes.
at Sharanagati, so there's a lot of parallels of, I would say, for me anyway, purity or clarity, transparency, of what how you're discussing Prabhupada or sharing Prabhupada from your heart, from your heart. And so there's a lot of, I can feel that. So I was wondering, with Yamuna, what was the first encounter that you had with Yamuna?
Qu'est-ce qu'elle dit?
He's asking what the first encounter you had with Yamuna.
Okay. I had a lot, actually, something very special with Yamuna recently. So, first she is, it's a special relationship with Yamuna which have not been consumed. Consumed? Consommé? Consommé? Comment on dit consommé? Which have not been...
Spoken.
Huh?
Spoken?
No. We did not have what we had to do together. You're going to see, I'm going to tell you. She is the one who wrote to me in Amsterdam. Actually, in Amsterdam at that time, he had been a lot of shame. And it was, I had been in trouble. Because, shall I say, yeah? So in Amsterdam, when Srila Prabhupada left, one of my brother-in-law, there was 3 brothers. We was living 3 brothers and myself. And they all became devotees, but I came first. And after, they came. And one of them, he was very young. He was like 17. And after 2 years or so, he became president. But everything has changed already. It goes very fast. You know, this thing I was talking about to you, that like honeypot, something incredible. It doesn't last. After, as you get some money, more this administration, everything, they lost this savor. You understand what I mean? it becomes different. Different. At that time there was no administration, nothing. We had to beg for eating. If we don't beg, we don't eat. And stuff like this. So it was very, very different. So when Srila Prabhupada left, as you remember, he told me to continue to feed all these hippies. But about 1 week, maybe 10 days later, that young brother-in-law who had become president, he came to me and he said, Kisori, now we have to stop to feed these dirty hippies. And he said, because I want the Queen of Holland to come here. And that looks very crazy. I said, but look where we are. This old garage, everything. And Srila Prabhupada said, continue. Give them Krishnam as much as you can. And no much philosophy. Thousands. But he didn't want to hear. So it was, when he told me that, it was a Saturday. And the next day was the Sunday. So they used to come every day, at least minimum 100. Minimum. It was hard work. And we had no money, and Krishna provided everything. And we don't ask any money. There are nothing. So on Sunday, they come like at least 300, minimum. Even more sometimes. So I said, but tomorrow is Sunday, and they don't know, they're all going to come. And they all were chanting, you know. So he said, no, no question. So what I did is, when he went to sleep and everybody was sleeping, I went in the kitchen very slowly, and I cooked the big feast. And I hide the pots as much as I could. So then, the time of the feast came, and they start to come, and then I picked it, because I was afraid he threw the pressure or something. So then I took out the pots, and I went next to the big door, and I said, now, you have to open, because I cooked the feast last night. And you know what he did? He took a big iron bear and he put it on the door. So then the hippies, they were knocking at the door. Hey, Krishna, 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 open! We are hungry, Krishna. And they start to chant, and they even put some small coins. You know, that big door had holes, it was an old door. Ah. I was going mad. So I took the thing out, I opened the door, and he said to me, if you do that, be careful. And then I said, I don't care, I'm going to give them on the street. So I went down the street, and I remember, I didn't know, I had a big dilemma. I thought, I don't want to make offenses. Do they have to sit where is the water? Or do they have to sit on the pavement where I have to put the pressure? I didn't know which offense I will make, you know. So finally, they sit where is the water, and I put the pressure on the pavement. Everybody was a little wet. So everybody was eating. So I came back, and then it can happen. So I have 2 children, and then he said, now you pack up. You see, everything had changed very suddenly, because position and stuff like that. Now you pack up and you leave this time, and you cannot come back again. You are pilot. I had no money, because I had some allowance for children. I would give it to the temple. We share everything. I had nothing. A pushcart, one kid like this, and one in the pushcart. So there was one lady who liked me very much. She see I'm working so hard. She saw Srila Prabhupada also. I went to see her. She was helping me with my daughter sometimes, keeping her. She gave me 5 gulden. So I was in the night looking for a little hotel, and I was kicked out of the temple. It was horrible. So I found a little place to sleep. But before to leave, I told him, please, can I come to Mangalarti? So he said yes. So I was rushing to Mangalarti. And then they had received some, you see how is Krishna? They had received some, the first magazine to distribute. So they was sitting after Mangalarti, and I wanted so much to go, so I said, Prabhupadas, please. I didn't want to say his name, but please, can I also come with you in Amsterdam and distribute some magazine? It was new, it was so enlivening. Oh, I said, okay, you can, but after you go to your hotel. So we went in Harinam, and you know, turn by turn, we will chant, and one will come out, distribute like this. So we do that all afternoon. Then we come back to the temple, and we sit on the floor, and I put all the Lakshmi on a piece of cloth like this. And I saw so much Lakshmi, I had never Lakshmi. And I counted, and it was 1000 francs. You know, like old. How much in your 1000 francs? It was a lot. Like they will do, they will have 200, and I will have 1000. I could not believe it. Then I Krishna again. Wow, so much Lakshmi. So I had collected the most, and I was amazed myself. And then he said, so Kisori, I think you can come back to the temple. So first, I felt, wow. And I felt a little hurt, but immediately I thought, wow, it's incredible. He kicked me out by the door, and Krishna let me come back by the front door, and Krishna let me come back by the back door. He filled up my bag like this. So it was coming, not what I had been knowing, you know, and I was feeling uncomfortable. Then Yamuna, she wrote a letter to me, and she said that your husband, because he had not come with me, and she said now he's in Vrindavan, he got initiated, and actually I will tell you that initiation because it's incredible also. And please come to Vrindavan. So she invited me. She wrote such a nice letter. And it was Yamuna. Yamuna was not like Prabhupada, but incredible, pure devotee. So I arrived in Vrindavan, and she received me in Radha Damodar. And after, I came to Ramaniti, but Yamuna and me was totally opposite. She was so organized, she was so tidy, she was so perfectionist and everything. So she actually understood that if she had me too much around her, she would go mad. So she, that was always coming, you know, and so she gave me Srila Prabhupada plates. That was the first time like this, to clean with the mud. I was so happy. And I could never be really her best friend or something. She had already one, Madeira. But she was very warm to me, very, very gentle. But she don't mix so much. I think she could see what kind of different person I was from her, you know. She would make the bed of Srila Prabhupada, and she would tie the bed sheet with pins under, so there is no pleats. And I could not understand that. That was impossible. I had admiration, but at the same time, I could, so old. And everything she was doing was perfect. So then later on, so you see that when she left Vrindavan, is actually by her mercy that living Vrindavan, she told like this, I see her again, take good care of Srila Prabhupada, but I don't need to who she was saying. Take good care of Srila Prabhupada, please. And then Srila Prabhupada took me. He sent us for marriage to, I was amazed, I could not believe it. So he said, I can come and cook and take care of his quarter and take care of the next things for the devotees which had to be done. So you see, I had a relation with her because she gave me Srila Prabhupada to sell by living Vrindavan. I see it like this. Then, secondly, it was a time where I had some trouble. My husband, so I took sannyas. Srila Prabhupada did not ask him, but he had a kind of dream that he had to take sannyas. And Srila Prabhupada never liked her too much when there was the ladies. I remember he used to say for Tamal, what I would say to Madeira. How can I look at her? Or Bhavananda also. And for me, he said, but what about Kisori? But anyway, Gurukula, that was pushing him. And he took sannyas. And then Srila Prabhupada called me, and with all the children, and we stay about half an hour in the middle of the room where Prabhupada was. And I couldn't recognize Srila Prabhupada at the time. He was very thin, and his feet was big, swollen like this. And it came so fast like this that he was old. And then suddenly he started become very thin, you know, and sick. And he was looking at us, and he was chanting. Then he called Tamal. And he said to Tamal, she doesn't know Yamuna actually. But she said, Tamal, you send them all to Yamuna Devi. So we were supposed to be taken care of by Yamuna, but it did not happen. Tamal did not do it. I had nothing to say. I was left with 4 kids and like 100 rupees in my pocket. So Bhagavan took me. But you know, last year there was some difficulties in my country with the president and everything. And it is true what I'm going to tell you. I was at my altar and I was praying and crying and all that. And then Yamuna came very, very clearly in my mind.
Microphone.
Very clearly. She came very clearly, like she would understand, and she was there to watch and protect. And why should I say that? Because I was not thinking about her at all. And she was in Krishna Loka. And it was so strong that I started to tell my friends, 1 or 2 friends I had, you know, if you had some problem, pray to Yamuna. She can come and help you and watching you. So I hope I meet her and we will have that relation that we could not have, actually. It's nice, huh? Because you know Yamina very well.
The first time I met her, I felt like I'd met her before. And I thought I'd met her before. And she looked at me and she said, yes, we met before. And I was overwhelmed. Anyway, I was struck by her. Then for 1 week, maybe about a week later, for 1 week I had dreams of her, just like you were expressing. I had dreams very clear, just like we're talking now. We were talking back and forth about Prabhupada, about spiritual things anyway, you can say sort of thing. But it was back and forth, so this is unusual, and this went on for about 6 days, every night. So after that time period, about 3 days later, I talked to her again, and I said, I'm having dreams, these dreams of discussion about Prabhupada, about Krishna, spiritual matters, and she said, yes, I'm having the same ones with you.
Some?
Yes, I'm having the same dreams with you. He's having dreams with her.
So to convey what you're saying is, yes, it's possible, yes, I believe that, yes.
She was very warm.
Yeah,
I used to live not far from her, and they had problems in Gurudas. And I was hearing her with Gurudas, you're just breaking my heart all the time. She was saying that to him. They had some, she was so warm, huh? And sannyasis, many men did not like her because she was so strong, So what happened when I saw, actually, when I saw that these sannyasis in GBC, Dhamma especially, and there's so many, so some of them, they would come to Vrindavan, they would go flat, paying obeisances to her, because she had this thing of being a pure devotee. But some of them would hate her and make big trouble to her. But it was more of that. Then I saw, wow, they are so tough. So I thought, how can I avoid that? Then immediately I thought, I just be quiet and give always pressure to them. So they started the opposite, to love me like anything. So, like Tamal, for example. Tamal, he will come every day. When he comes to Vrindavan, I will hear. Kisori, I am having a cold. Can you give me some puri and fried eggplant with salt? And every time was like this, And Satswaru, oh, I'm so sick, can you make some of this or that? So everybody was, I just was smiling to them, give them prashadam. I was so afraid that I get like her, But she was more advanced, and she knew things, she knew how to say, etc. And I was not of this standard, so it was better that I did like this.
She mentioned something, so
Huh?
I asked her, about Prabhupada, and she said, Prabhupada told her, she said, you'll have fame and infamy in this life, fame and infamy. But in this life, you have to look at them equal vision. And she said to avoid politics. Prabhupada said, stay away from all of these politics. Just ignore.
One time in Delhi,
We can't hear anything.
One time in Delhi, we was in the Delhi temple, and Tejas was the president, and he was doing something wrong with the deities, so he turned to Yamuna, and he said, Yamuna, why don't you tell him? And Yamuna said, I cannot, because he's the president. No, Prabhupada said, you have to call it. I told you everything about deity worship. Like this. Prabhupada said she could be a GBC at that time. But he was not treating us in the same way. Actually, he was treating her like she can do a lot, and me was more
Protect.
I don't know. Yeah, more like just a sample.
He was treating you like his daughter. Protecting you like his daughter.
Yeah. You always fulfill my heart. Always. Whatever. Always. And that he did with all the, actually he does with all the devotees. Like Sankirtan devotees. Can you tell that story of the books? Nice story of Sankirtan. That story you said that minute. That a ghost sold, he distributes books through a ghost.
Let me say.
That's why.
Actually, I was going in the south of France from person to person. They say, oh, you should go and see that person. You should go and see that one. So I went to one lady. She was in the office, and so I started to preach and present the philosophy to her. And she was very receptive. So for me, it was not in my mind that she would take the books. So I put all the complete set of books on the table. And so I say, okay, let's conclude, you know, this was so much and so on. So I was sure that she would take it. And she said, no, I don't need these books. I said, but you look very interested. She said, no. I said, why not? So she said, I have my master. I have a master. Oh, who is he? Oh, you don't know. She's going to give me a name. I don't, where is he? She says, oh, he's up there. I said, but how do you communicate with him? She said, oh, it's very simple. He gives me instructions through writing, automatic writing. So I think, how can I give these books? And then I was inspired to tell her that you should ask him. Say, oh yes. So she took a piece of paper, a pen, and she went into kind of trance. And she started writing and writing and writing, closed eyes. She didn't even look at the paper. She gave me the paper. I look, and she said, the paper said, take these books. It will be very, very good for you. Be humble. So she went and checked, took the book. But I happened to go back in this place like maybe 10 years after, and I reminded about it. So I went back to that place, but the office was closed, but I had a home address, so I went there. I knocked at the door, she opened, looked at me, staring. I said, oh, you remind me? Hare Krishna. I said, oh, yes, come in. And we start talking and talking. And I said, what about your master? I said, almost finished, no more. She said, no, it's Arjun. Arjun is communicating with me.
No, Arjun speaking now.
Yeah, she had read the Bhagavad Gita and Krishna book, everything, and she told me, now my dream is to go to Vrindavan. But she was very old, and I just called her before coming to India, and she just came out of the hospital with a heart attack. So Oh, nobody's here again. It's really but many devotees have same kind of stories. Je sais pas, donc des solutions qui...
Yeah.
It's very nice to
No.
separation feeling.
No.
Very high separation feeling. No, you need to say it. Yes.
No, it's too strange.
Anyone else want to have a comment? It's okay.
No, I'm stupid.
No, it's okay. She
Very
tells,
nice.
you know,
Very nice.
not, some stories are not for everybody.
So, the scene is that
If you want to tell a story, you gotta hold the thing.
yes, Prabhu.
Tell it so we can hear it, or don't tell it.
Yes, Prabhu. Well, they don't have like internet, like what do you see? They don't do that.
Yeah, they have, we don't have one.
They do?
They do, but this is just the radio, which is great.
Okay. So,
But you stand closer.
at first, you have to understand that Srila Prabhupada was like a magnet. In French, magnet is aimant. Aimant means loving. Strange. So, Srila Prabhupada was a magnet that you are completely, when he comes, you forget everything. No problem. No more problem, no more anything. He's like carrying you somewhere. And I can't explain with the words, that's the thing. And it's just rays around him and waves, and it's unbelievable. So you can imagine that when something else, I was standing in Lakshminath and Babu, Yosamati, that actually one time Srila Prabhupada was very, very sick, and we were worried, and we was 3 devotees together. And we don't say to each other that we are worried. We can't. Because even to say we are worried does mean maybe Srila Prabhupada may leave or something. So we can't say that. We can't say anything. So we did the opposite. Instead of mourning, oh, this and that, we started to speak about how much Srimad Bhagavatam he has still to translate. You understand what I mean? So it was like we don't tell a word to each other, and we started like mad, saying, oh, I always remember that, saying, yeah, but the 10th canto is not done in that chapter, and he has to do this, and he has to do that, but not saying that it was because he was sick. Just we regroup ourselves like this. It was, you know. So when Srila Prabhupada was here, my only I was always a little bit in agony, feeling separation, because I knew he was going to go. So that was terrible. So one time, it was the day he was going. So already everything was packed up. And they started to go even near the car. And me, I was in the kitchen, in a total panic. And I wanted to be with everyone. And more I was in a panic, more I made mistake. That means I was doing the tifa, the cooker. And I was putting so much that it was all coming down. Tomato sauce, everything. And I could never close that tifa. Always something was coming out. And I was getting so nervous. I'm going to miss everything. And like that. Actually, I was very confused because he was going. So I came to the car, and I had a bag with so much prashadam and this for the plane, for the secretary, for everything, for him. And actually, he took it and he gave it behind, and he was already, I can see him, he was already in the car. And he was very smiling to me. And he looked at me, and I was feeling like something terrible happening inside. And Srila Prabhupada looked at me and he said, he never said that before, he said, you go and you close everything. You close all the door, you close the window, you close everything. And I will come back. And then the car went. But when the car went, it's like it drives on my heart, you know? Really. And I stand there like this, and I just ran in here. I didn't want to see anyone, and I obeyed his orders. So that means I started to close everything. The windows, the doors, the keys, everything. And then I find myself out in the garden. And this down. I find myself out in the garden. And in the garden we always be careful because it could be a snake or a little, normally not, but it could be. It's not that we used to sit on the on the earth or on the green grass. We could not with all these animals and everything. And then I didn't think of anything. I could not stop it. I just rocked myself on the floor. And I went all like this, and I cannot stand it. No. Well, it was so much separation, you know, that actually, no, I was like this, and I was like weeping, and I felt like I was a dog, missing his master, just a dog, nothing else. A poor dog who can't do anything else than cry if his master is gone. You know, sometimes dogs, they can cry all day. So I felt like this. And then it was so painful that I started to want to see Srila Prabhupada coming back. Then, that morning dog, I became a happy dog. Just going waf, waf, waf. And Srila Prabhupada was coming back, and I was so happy and everything. So that was some strange feeling, and which I could not dominate. I could not. It just happened like this. And like I was telling you that when Srila Prabhupada was going, we had all to immediately start to do something to see him coming back. Otherwise, even at that time, when we was very more new, it was the same feeling, actually. But I was experiencing here, and alone and closer. But at that time, Prabhupada, I can never forget Prabhupada going from the back like this. And I would think, but he's not turning, he's not even going like this. That's something incredible. It was almost cruel. But then immediately he goes, we have to immediately start to do something that Prabhupada is coming back. Otherwise we could not live. Impossible. We got totally depressed. We would go on the floor and cry. So it's the same thing. And then immediately Srila Prabhupada will jump into our heart. Why? Because we thought, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to lie down, we're going to preach, we do this. And then we knew, so we was living only, we have no salary, nothing, we live our family, the only thing we made of live is that Prabhupada will come. And we will have him come only by ourselves. Otherwise, and we will compete actually. Who is going to do more and this and that? I mean, can you imagine that Srila Prabhupada came in a very old garage with dirty PC, smelling bad and everything. But he came, why? Because we wanted him so much to come. And we worked so hard. So I think if we want him to come like this in the heart, everyone can live in the heart, is that we have to do very much devotional service. So we appear. And if he appears, we are safe. We don't think, oh, enjoy life and everything. We can enjoy nicely together, serving him and relishing him. Very important here, because he is a full container of love for everyone. Full. So, and if one gets it, then, like I said, it's contagious. Everyone can get it. So the more we will get, then the more we will be, and then everyone will be attracted. How come everyone was so attracted like this? Young people, can you imagine? To tell these young people, not this, not that. It was no, no, no. And we did it. Isn't that amazing? And he was an old person and looking very strange at first. And only love. And it's always there. It's always there. It's more difficult to get it in separation. This is really for the big ones. It's like you go to school, you go to the big school after. It's easy when he's there. Yeah. So that's why maybe sometimes we do many things, but we don't go so deep. We get busy with so many little things. And crying. Disturbed, because it's more difficult in separation. Okay, I'm sorry to speak to you like this, because I'm so conditioned. I didn't want to say that.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing all of these things.
We're thanking Kisori
for sharing all of these wonderful intimate pastimes of Srila Prabhupada and her sweet, sweet relationship with His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much.
When I was telling about the dresses, that I could not put the dress that we decided that Krishna would wear. So I was, the story,
Yes.
the opening of Krishna Balaram Mandir. But you know, then I was desperate. But the next day, there was a dress which I liked a little less that I had been made. But I saw that Srila Prabhupada was standing and more and longer. And then he sent Ramananda to me. And Ramananda told me that Srila Prabhupada loves that dress so much, very, very much. So you see how Srila Prabhupada was responding, that I was so frustrated with that dress that Tirtha didn't want to put. And the next day, he said, this dress is so beautiful. And I loved it so much. And it was not my favorite dress that year.